Why does one AI request cost literally a fraction of a cent, while another runs you several dollars? Well, it's not because the model is thinking harder. It's because memory is incredibly expensive. And tokens? They're the currency that controls this whole system. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a massive misconception about how AI pricing actually works, and why memory, not computation, is the real bottleneck. Let's kick things off with a real code example. If you're building an AI app, you're probably sending a standard block of code, a messages array with a system prompt defining the behavior, and a user prompt with the actual question. Now I want you to stop and think for a second. How is this exact request actually billed by the big providers? Here's the wild part. Generating a response to that exact code snippet almost always costs 3 to 5 times more than just reading the prompt. Why? It all comes down to memory bandwidth. Every prompt you write gets chopped into tokens, and every single token generated forces the GPU to repeatedly load massive model weights and a constantly growing cache of memory. You're not paying for complex math, you're paying for moving data. So, here's our roadmap for the explainer today. 1. The token economy. 2. The hidden language tax. 3. Prefill versus decode. 4. The KV cache bottleneck. 5. Infrastructure and cost optimization. And finally, 6. Memory is the currency. All right, section 1, the token economy, understanding subwords. The very first thing we need to get straight is that a large language model does not natively read words or characters at all. It reads integers. Most modern models use something called byte pair encoding, or BPE. Think of it as a subword tokenization method. It basically scans the training data and iteratively merges the most frequent pairs of characters into a single integer ID. It just keeps doing this until it builds up a vocabulary of common subwords or even whole words. This creates a really specific pipeline. You type in your raw text. The tokenizer breaks that text down into those BPE tokens. Then, those tokens are mapped to numeric token IDs. From there, the IDs are converted into high-dimensional embeddings, and only then does the transformer model actually do its magic. It's super interesting to see this in actual code. If you take a standard tokenizer in Python and pass it the word building, the output is not just one word. It's an array of 2 integers, 4121 and 873. The tokenizer literally snapped the word into 2 semantic fragments, most likely build and ing. Now, this subword approach is incredibly efficient, but it leads to a massive, mostly hidden issue globally. Which brings us to section 2, the hidden language tax, global inefficiencies. Because tokenization is built on the frequency of text in the training data, the system is definitely not equal for everyone. The training data for major tokenizers is overwhelmingly English, so frequent English words compress beautifully into single tokens. But consider the token multipliers. If English is our baseline at a 1x efficiency, languages like Spanish or Polish might require 1.5 times the tokens to say the exact same thing. And if you're using non-Latin scripts like Russian, Hebrew, or Chinese, it's a severe double whammy. The exact same semantic meaning can take up to 3 times more tokens. So what does this actually mean? This token bloat isn't just some academic quirk. It's an invisible tax. For non-English users, it means astronomically higher API costs because, well, you're billed per token. It means significantly slower model generation, and crucially, it means a much smaller effective context window. A 128K context window in English holds vastly more information than that exact same window in Russian. Moving right along to section 3, prefill versus decode. The hardware reality. Okay, now that we know how software slices up our text, let's talk about what physically happens inside the GPU. AI inference actually has 2 totally distinct phases. First up is prefill. This is when the model processes your entire prompt at once in a highly parallel way. This phase is compute-bound. It's maxing out the flops of your GPU doing heavy matrix math. But the second phase? That's decode. This is when the model generates its response, and it happens strictly 1 token at a time. It is highly sequential, and more importantly, it is completely memory-bound. Let's dig deeper into that with section 4, the KV cache bottleneck, growing context. We really need to understand exactly why decode is so helplessly memory-bound. Just think about this staggering number, 40 gigabytes. That's more RAM than most high-end laptops have in total, and the AI is eating it up just to remember a single conversation.
If you send a 128K context prompt to a Llama 3.1 70B model, it consumes 40 gigabytes of high bandwidth memory just to store what's called the key value, or KV cache. This cache is basically the model's working memory of all the tokens it's processed so far.
And this leads us to absolutely one of the most important insights in all of AI infrastructure. It's perfectly captured by this quote from the dev community. You're not paying for compute, you're paying for memory bandwidth. Here's the reality of the decode phase. For every single new token generated, the AI has to read the entire multi-gigabyte model wave file plus that massive KV cache just to do a tiny bit of math to pick the next word. The GPU cores spend most of their time just sitting there, waiting for data to arrive. Output generation is expensive because it's reading memory over and over and over again. So, how do we fix this? Section 5, Infrastructure and Cost Optimization, Scaling Smarter. Let's see how this hardware bottleneck translates directly to your wallet. Take Anthropic's Sonnet 4.6 and Google's Gemini 3.5 Flash, for example. In both cases, output tokens cost 5 to 6 times more than input tokens. That price gap, that is the direct cost of the decode memory bottleneck. But check out the cached input pricing. If you use prompt caching, providers slash the price of input tokens by up to 90%. Why? Because if you send the same system prompt repeatedly, they don't have to burn compute doing that prefill phase again. They just inject the already computed KV cache straight into memory. Behind the scenes, infrastructure teams are deploying some incredible tech to manage this. They're using PagedAttention, which treats the KV cache just like an operating system's virtual memory to eliminate GPU memory fragmentation. They use continuous batching to keep GPUs constantly fed by alternating compute and memory phases. There's even disaggregated inference, which literally separates the prefill and decode phases onto completely different specialized hardware. And finally, systems are using ultra-fast flash storage injection, like Pure Storage or Weka's neural mesh, to basically trick the GPU into thinking it has infinite high-bandwidth memory. The biggest cost savings today, they come from smart infrastructure, not just writing shorter prompts. Let's wrap this all up in Section 6. Memory is the currency. Final summary. We've covered a ton of ground today, from subword integers all the way down to flash storage arrays. So here are your key takeaways from this explainer. First, tokens dictate your costs, not the model's intelligence. Second, output tokens are wildly expensive because the decode phase is strictly memory-bound. Third, tokenization creates a hidden, severe cost multiplier for non-English languages. And fourth, true AI optimization today targets memory data movement over raw compute.
Which leaves us with one final, absolutely critical question. If the real bottleneck is moving data, are you still making decisions based on raw flops, or are you finally ready to optimize for memory? Every single token is a memory operation. Think about that the next time you're staring at your API bill. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.